What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's now take a look at your headlines for tonight.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
KDK, the leader in indoor air quality. KDK, the reliable fan.
Dr. Susil Premajayantha removed from his state ministerial portfolio, says people who share similar sentiments will come together at decisive junctures as he leaves the ministry premises. Why was Dr. Susil Premajayantha removed?
විවේචනයක් කරන්න කිරීම නිසාවෙන් මේක කරා කියලා කියන ආකාරයේ ප්‍රකාශනයක් හේතු දැක්වීමක් නෙමෙයි සිද්ධ වෙලා තිබුණේ.
The solution to the crisis is not removing Dr. Susil Premajayantha, but resolving the prevailing issues in the country, says former President Maithripala Sirisena. Opposition leader certifies that there will be no room for corruption under an SJB government. Minister of Finance presents a 229 billion worth economic relief package. Is the government gearing up for an election? Gas, milk powder and fertilizer crises continue. Many long queues seen across the country today as well.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
KDK, the leader in indoor air quality. KDK, the reliable fan.
First up in news here at home, former State Minister Susil Premajayantha says that the people who share similar sentiments will unite at a decisive juncture. Former State Minister said this before the media after the President decided to remove him from his State Minister position. Former Minister Premajayantha also said that a country cannot go forward towards development if the rulers cannot tolerate statements made with a touch of constructive criticism.
President's media division in a release said this morning that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has removed the State Minister of Education Reforms, Open Universities and Distant Learning, Dr. Susil Premajayantha. The release noted that the removal has been done in accordance with the powers vested with the President. After hearing the news from the media, former State Minister Susil Premajayantha arrived at the Ministry office and handed over his office premises to the officials.
Nothing has happened. I heard that I was stripped of my ministerial portfolio. There is nothing to be concerned about. I was appointed as a minister in the year 2000. I have my own profession. I will practice law from tomorrow. No, I was not informed. There is no point in citing reasons. The executive presidency has the power to appoint anyone and remove anyone according to his whims and fancies. On the 2nd of this month, the reporter asked me about the price of goods. I started expressing my views. I said that a kilo of chilies is 1,200 rupees. I said the agriculture sector in the country has failed. The policy decisions they have taken has failed. I spoke on behalf of the people.
ඉතින් ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් තමයි අපි කතා කළේ. අපි දැක්ක මීට කලිනුත් රජයේ ඉන්න අමාත්‍යවරු මැතිවරු මේ රජය විවේචනය කරනවා. හැබැයි ඔබතුමා තමයි පළමුව ඉවත් කරන්නේ. ඒ අය එහෙම ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් ගන්න අපි දැක්කේ. ඕ නෑ දැන් මම හිතන්නේ ඊයේ
I do not know about that. Maybe something was discussed in the cabinet yesterday. The parliament has given them responsibilities. There are underqualified people there as well. They do not understand the value of education.
ඒගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙන්නේ අධ්‍යාපනයේ වටිනාකම. දැන් මේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා මේ වගේ තීන්දුවක් ගනිවි කියලා ඔබතුමාලා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ හිටියද එහෙම දෙයක් දැනුණාද? මෙහෙම නොගත්ත නම් තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඇයි ඒ ඔබතුමා එහෙම කියන්නේ රටේ ඉතින්
Looking at the manner in which economic and other affairs are carried out in the country, it is very distinctive as to where we are heading as a country.
When the removed state minister was leaving the ministry, Minister of Education Dinesh Gunawardena arrived at the location. Thereafter, former State Minister Dr. Susil Premajayantha convened a media briefing and expressed the following views.
The parliament has been prorogued. No one has the chance to say anything in parliament. If we had an opportunity to speak at a party meeting, I would have expressed my concerns. But when the media asks us questions, we need to be honest. We are the representatives of the general public. I have always won elections. I have never entered parliament through the national list. It is very difficult to engage in politics and carry a country forward if you cannot tolerate constructive criticism. Decisions that should have been taken by experts are being taken by normal people. Agriculture experts take decisions discarding the farmers of the country. No, there are different mediums of politics in the country today. There are certain policies that they adhere to, and there are certain issues revolving around their policies as well. Therefore, people who share the same sentiments will come together at decisive junctures in the future. People who were not even in Sri Lanka when Mahinda Rajapaksa became Prime Minister, people who didn't even cast their vote here in Sri Lanka, are the people who have removed me. No, I do not have any regrets. I usually buy lottery tickets when I go to the fair. Now I have won a lottery ticket even though I do not get any money from this. All my staff and staff equipment will be removed from the premises. I will hand over everything officially now.
Former State Minister Dr. Susil Premajayantha, who handed over his official vehicle, left the ministry premises on a three-wheeler.
Meanwhile, Ministers Vasudeva Nanayakkara, Udaya Gammanpila and Vimal Weerawansa made several remarks recently regarding the deal to hand over parts of the Yugadanavi power plant and the LNG supply to an American company that contradicts the governing party. In the petitions filed in the Supreme Court challenging the agreement, the three ministers appeared before the court as intermediaries in support of the petitions. Meanwhile, Minister Vasudeva Nanayakkara expressed the following views regarding the removal of Susil Premajayantha from his ministerial position.
It was done under the concept of collective responsibility. Under that, no one is allowed to express a different opinion. I do not think that concept suits us. If we cannot express different views, we are damaging our political beliefs. We have an agreement with the SLPP. We behave according to that agreement. He is a member of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. The rules of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna apply to him as well. The matter concerning Susil Premajayantha was discussed. According to them, his comments were a huge drawback to the government. I do not have any risk of losing my ministerial portfolio. We will accept it if they ask us to leave our ministries. The final power is vested with the President. If they ask me to take over another ministry, I am ready for that as well.
Was there a discussion in the cabinet regarding the removal of Susil Premajayantha?
I heard this news while coming to this press conference. This was not discussed during the cabinet meeting yesterday. Under the constitutional powers vested with the president, he made this decision. It was not decided by the party. We immediately felt bad as he was our close friend. It was done because he criticized the government. If that was the case, Ministers Gammanpila and Vimal Weerawansa also went to courts regarding the discussions held in the cabinet.
The chief government whip expressed the following views regarding the matter.
He has criticized the government and its policies and programs. Therefore, he has been removed. When you are playing for a team, you must keep information within the team. You must have the backbone to speak of these things inside the team. He is not suitable to hold a ministry if he is not aware of collective responsibility. We don't publicly announce cabinet affairs. The president has told editors not to criticize publicly. In politics, there are certain rules that everyone needs to abide by.
Views from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna were also expressed.
Everyone has a platform to express their woes. We can't speak on every platform. If we establish a government and if we are working with the government, we must make statements protecting the government. There is a place to do that. We raise our concerns in the cabinet. We can do it in parliament. Anyone can criticize the government while being a member of the government, but you can't play double games inside the government. Then that person must strip the privileges and enter the opposition. In 2015, when Mahinda Rajapaksa lost the election, Susil Premajayantha crossed over and attached himself to President Maithripala Sirisena. He got a ministry too. A person who got comfortable there can get comfortable here too. Certain people have dreams of cabinet positions. Is not getting the cabinet position the problem? He spoke of other matters without focusing on what he should be doing.
Former President and the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Maithripala Sirisena expressed his views about the removal of Dr. Susil Premajayantha from his state minister position in Matale today.
මට පේන විදිහට 2022 අවුරුද්ද එක ඇමතිවරයෙක් අස්කිරීමෙන් පමණක් සිදුවෙන සිදුවීම් වළක්වා ගන්න ආණ්ඩුවට නොහැකි වෙයි.
This government will not be able to stop the things that will come their way by removing one state minister. If the government starts doing the right thing and identifies the woes of the people, they will be able to stop this. The farmers of this country did not suffer like this even during colonial rule. The farmers and the agriculture sector of this country have been completely destroyed now. No investigations have been launched into the gas explosions reported across the country. No one asked any authority to resign. Susil Premajayantha was sacked because he criticized the government. Minister Lanka made a stronger comment in Gampaha 3 days ago. But Lanka is still in the government. I know why no one is touching Lanka. Because Lanka knows everything. We put this government into power. Some people in the SLPP say that the 6.9 million people voted only for them. This government was formed with a coalition of 13 parties. We are the third most powerful party in the government. Some people think that we have fallen to depths that we cannot recover from. But that is not the truth.
ආණ්ඩුව හදන්න දේශපාලන පක්ෂ 13ක් එකට එකතු වෙලා සන්දාන හැදුවේ. එතන ප්‍රබලම පක්ෂය අපි. අද පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ප්‍රබලම තුන්වෙනි පක්ෂය අපි. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය. සමහර අය හිතනවා අපේම අය මේ පක්ෂය දැන් හුඟක් වැටිලා ගොඩ ගන්න බැරි තැනට විනාශ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. නෑ අපි එහෙම වැටිලා නෑ.
Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna Anura Kumara Disanayaka says the country needs an administration without corruption.
එනිසා දැන් 94 ඉඳන් අපි අවුරුදු 27ක් ආපහු හැරලා
If we take a look back, since 1994, the people of this country did not appoint governments looking at the economic issues. They have appointed governments based on the issues they created. Today, the people are saying the government must be changed looking at the economy. The most important political discussion in Sri Lanka has come up. We must come to a general consensus. In order to develop this country, an administration without corruption is needed.
Meanwhile, the Samagi Jana Balawege extended an invitation to Susil Premajayantha.
We are extending an invitation to Susil Premajayantha. We invite him to join hands with the Samagi Jana Balawege on the basis of right to voice his opinion, democratic right, and to stand on the side of the general public.
This is what Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa had to say about the removal of Dr. Susil Premajayantha from his state minister position.
People who love this country do not care about ministerial portfolios. I was once removed as well because I opposed the selling of the Hambantota port to China. After that, I made a promise to leader Ranil Wickremesinghe that the United National Party, which was founded by the Mahamanya DS Sena Nayaka, will be wiped out from the face of this earth in the next election. The people did it. The prime responsibility of a public representative is to serve the public. All public representatives who cannot speak for the people must stay home.
පළවෙනි සහ ප්‍රථම වගකීම වෙන්නේ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් කතා කිරීම. ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් කතා කරන්න බැරි සියලුම දේශපාලඥයෝ කරුණාකරලා ගෙදරට වෙලා ඉන්න ඕන ජනතාවට ද්‍රෝහි නොවි.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says that the Samagi Jana Balawege will unconditionally stand up to curb theft, corruption and bribery that has spread throughout the country. He made these remarks in Trincomalee.
The people bless politicians for them to carry out a good service to the country. The politicians of this country don't act like temporary caretakers. Instead, they act as if the entire country has been written to them in a deed. This has led to corruption, scams, theft, misuse of public property and selling state property for a commission. In short, this government is corrupt. This is an era of fraud. In such an era, I would like to state that the Samagi Jana Balawege will not let any government authority carry out their corrupt activities. We will not let the corrupts enter the government. We will put a full stop to appointing these corrupt individuals from taking over ministerial positions. I strongly believe that the government led by Samagi Jana Balawege will bring a pleasant era to the people without any corruption or theft.
Samagi Jana Balawege ආණ්ඩුවක් කටයුතු කරනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ පැහැදිලිවම ප්‍රකාශ කර සිටිනවා.
Digital monitors and computers were donated to the Trincomalee Sampaltiv Tamil Mahavidyalaya under the auspices of opposition leader Sajid Premadasa.
We have more news in store for you, but first a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
KDK, the leader in indoor air quality. Over 110 years in bringing you the best of Japanese innovation and technology. KDK, the reliable fan.
Welcome back. Let's continue with more local news. The government has reiterated that the announcement on relief packages made by the finance minister yesterday was not put out targeting an election. Speaking at the cabinet media briefing, co-cabinet spokesperson said that the reliefs were introduced aiming for the benefit of the people.
A relief package was introduced by Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa last night after the cabinet meeting. The relief package includes providing a monthly allowance of 5,000 rupees for the state sector employees and pensioners, measures to provide concessions for the employees of the private sector by discussing with their employers, providing an extra allowance of 1,000 rupees for the Samurdhi beneficiaries who have a monthly allowance of 3,500 and provide the said allowance to the Samurdhi beneficiaries, providing a supplementary price of 25 rupees per kilogram of paddy additionally to the certified price of 50 rupees per kilogram of paddy provided currently if there is any decrease in the harvest in the forthcoming season, to bear the supplementary price provided by the government as not to affect the price of rice in the market, implementing a gardening program to encourage the growing of vegetables and fruits for consumption and provide an allowance of 10,000 rupees as per the extent of the land subject to a maximum of an acre which is necessary for land preparation and buying inputs such as seeds, provide 15 kilograms of wheat flour at a concessionary price of 80 rupees per kilogram for an estate labor family, to release all essential food and medicines from taxes completely in order to take measures to protect the local farmers and manufacturers. The relief package will cost the government 229 billion rupees.
This will benefit the people who are in dire straits at the moment. Pensioners are living amidst many difficulties. This is the first step of a program targeting many grades. Let's discuss its pros and cons. Let's accept this relief as a huge boost without an argument and provide the required relief.
However, the opposition questions whether a sufficient amount of relief is given compared to the rise in the prices of goods and services.
We are happy to a certain extent about them providing relief to the people, because the people need to live. But this 5,000 rupees won't be of much use. The government itself announced last Friday that food inflation is at 22%. But that is not the truth. The truth is that amount has doubled now. In economic terms, we call this a vicious cycle. When the cost of living increases, the wages are also increased proportionately. This only increases the prices of goods. But unfortunately, the salaries are increasing only among a selected crowd. The cost of the first round of this crisis created by the president is 229 billion rupees. 12 to 14% of the government's entire expenditure. The budget approved by a two-thirds majority said that supplementary estimates will not be introduced. From where will the money be spent next year?
Why did the government announce this relief package? Was it because of the influence exerted by India to hold the provincial council elections? Minister Uday Gammanpila provided answers to these questions during the cabinet media briefing today.
Providing this relief package raises assumptions regarding the provincial council elections. I would like to responsibly state that a discussion regarding the provincial council election does not exist within the government. A provincial council election will not be held. A foreign country has not exerted any pressure on us. We will not fall prey to those influences. The only intention behind this relief package is to provide a benefit to the people who are already burdened. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa is to take part in a tour of India from the 10th to the 12th. It is against this backdrop that a new agreement is being drawn up with the Indian oil company to develop the Trincomalee tank farm as a joint development project. The proposal presented by Minister Uday Gammanpila was approved by the cabinet yesterday. We hope to get the agreement signed within a week. We were both able to successfully conclude the 16-month-long discussion with India. Accordingly, under the approval given by the cabinet ministers, all the tanks will be under the government. Under 3 tax agreements, 24 oil tanks are allocated for the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, 14 tanks of the lower oil tank complex to the Lanka IOC, 61 tanks to the development project named Trincomalee Petroleum Terminal Private Limited, which is a CPC-controlled company, and 51% will be owned by the CPC. 4 out of 7 directors in the board are from the CPC. And with 51% ownership, the CPC will have full control over this company. It became a state company. It is the Auditor General who is going to audit. The COPE committee can question the board of directors in Parliament. MPs can question the subject minister. The oil tanks are located in the world's largest natural harbour in Trincomalee. The strategic importance of the harbour is priceless. It is a future income-generating asset. What was the assessment made before handing over such a valuable economic hub for foreign investment? What assessment was done to determine the value of the 49% stake? The Hambantota port was handed over to China for $1.1 billion. Will Sri Lanka lose the valuable Trincomalee harbour?
We
have the documents that established this company. According to those documents, the chairman is in charge of this. It has been done based on a name and not based on the position of the chairman. We will let you know in a short period of time. The major players in the Petroleum Corporation and powerful political activists have been appointed as directors of this company. 2 companies were established attached to the IOC. One was in Trincomalee and the other in Colombo. They made all their plans for those companies through the CPC. The CPC is not enough. This is a serious issue. We invite the people of this country and the trade unions to join hands with us. We have to stop this heinous crime.
Amidst the broad discourse that has taken place on the joint development project to develop the Trincomalee oil tank farm and finance minister's tour to India, much attention has been drawn to the proposed relief package that India is willing to grant Sri Lanka. Indian media reported that the two countries are discussing about a relief package that includes oil, medicines, food and $1.5 billion. Against such a backdrop, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval for the procurement of 750 jeeps for Sri Lanka Police and 500 new buses for the Sri Lanka Transport Board. There was a proposal to import 500 32-seat buses from India under the Indian line of credit. This is a time where the importation of vehicles have been temporarily suspended. It is against such a backdrop that a proposal has been put forward to bring down 500 32-seat buses to Sri Lanka. These buses are to be imported to Sri Lanka by the Indian Ashok Leyland Company. The cabinet approval has been given for the importation of 750 jeeps from the Mahindra Company in India, following a request made by the Minister of Public Security. 150 jeeps will be given to the Special Task Force, while the rest will be given to Sri Lanka Police.
Meanwhile, the Sinhala Railway organisation points out that vehicles are being sent to a parking space of a Chinese project premises, closing the car park of the golf face.
one goal එකේ කියලා කියන්නේ තනිකරම ආදායම් මාර්ගය යන්නේ චීනෙට. එතකොට ඒකේ පැයකට රුපියල් 100ක් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට පැය විනාඩියක් ගෙවුවොත් රුපියල් 200ක්. එතකොට මේ වගේ ගියාම විශාල වියදමක් අහිංසක මිනිස්සු කොහොමද ඒක කරගන්නේ? සල්ලි ඒ නිසා මේක විශාල අසාධාරණයි.
For 9 months, vehicles have been prohibited from parking here in Golface. Instead, they have to use a parking space belonging to a mall situated nearby.
Several Chinese projects, including the Chinese Port City project close to Golface, is currently ongoing. Recently, China provided a currency swap of $1.5 billion to Sri Lanka. The Chinese foreign minister is to arrive in the country next week.
Frontline Socialist Party activist Duminda Nagamua, who was arrested for contempt of court, was released on 2 personal bails of ₹500,000 each by the Kadwala magistrate this evening. The propaganda secretary of the Frontline Socialist Party, Duminda Nagamua, was arrested in Barela by personnel attached to the Kadwala police today. He was arrested based on an open warrant issued by the Kadwala Magistrate Court for committing contempt of court on the 9th of November 2021 by placing a board on the sign of a court. Meanwhile, the United Nations has praised the country's green agriculture program.
This was stated at a meeting between UN Assistant Secretary General Kanni Wignaraja and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. According to the United Nations Assistant Secretary General Kanni Wignaraja, Sri Lanka has been ranked 87th out of 165 countries in the 2021 Sustainable Development Report, up 7 points from last year. A statement issued by the Presidential Media Unit stated that the discussions are underway to further develop the situation and attract foreign investors to the Green Agriculture Program.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa met the Government Medical Officers Association today. The Prime Minister's media unit stated that the Prime Minister instructed to continue the transfer board of hierarchical officers in the same manner as before. The Prime Minister has emphasized that the crisis will arise if the existing methods are changed at the discretion of certain officials.
With the prevailing gas shortage in the country, gas was distributed in some areas with the involvement of the police. Many people who stood in line to purchase gas cylinders had to go home empty-handed as well.
This was the manner in which gas cylinders were distributed in Hikkadwa this morning. 400 gas cylinders were distributed to the public under police security. Although many queues were there to purchase gas cylinders in Oruppuwattagol, no one was able to purchase gas cylinders.
අපි මේ ඡන්ද දීලා කරගත්ත ලොකුම පින්කමක් වගේ දෙයක් ඩාන්සර් කන්නා වගේ වැඩක් මේ ඉන්නේ. පෝලිං වල ඉඳලා අපි ඉඳලා යනවා. බඩු නැහැ. පළවෙනිද ඉඳලා පෝලිං වල.
People were seen standing outside the main gas distribution center in Mathura since 3 last morning. Although a truck carrying gas arrived at the location, the gas cylinders were not sufficient for the demand. Gas cylinders were issued to a limited number of people in Wadigala Runner.
අසාර්ථක ආණ්ඩු හැමදාම කරේ පාලනය කරන්න බැරි නම් මිලෙච්ච අතර පාර කපන ඒ සඳහා ජනතාව යොමු කරනවා ඊට පස්සේ උළුවා මිලෙච්ච අතර ගිහිල්ලා ජනතාව මර්ධනය කරලා තමන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්න සේරම යටපත් කරගන්න. 3 places in Hatton distributed gas cylinders based on a token method. Gas cylinders were distributed for the tokens obtained yesterday in Ampara. These were the long queues that were seen in Thalawathagoda and Maligawatha. තාත්තගේ කාලේ පොලින් තිබ්බ සිරිමම්මගේ කාලේ ඔක්කොම මේ තරම් පොලිමක් තිබ්බේ නැහැ. යුද්ධ කාලෙත් උතර කෑවුවා දැන් මොකදයි හැම රටක්ම ජීුණු අපේ රට ආපස්සට ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ගණන් උදේ 3 මාර ඉඳලා ඉන්නවා. දැන් තමයි හම්බ වෙන්නේ. මොනා කරලා 40ක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ මිනිස්සුන් හරි දුකේ.
In addition to gas, people are now facing a shortage of milk powder. In several areas, including Kurunagala, Hatton and Kandy, it was observed that there was no milk powder in the market.
කහට තමයි දෙන්නේ මේ දස්ටි මොනවා ගන්න ළමයි යන්නනවා ඉතින් කිරි වලට හුරු වෙලා තියෙන හින්දා දැන් කිරි ඇත්තෙත් නැහැ ගන්න අර පොඩි පැකට් තිබ්බා ඒ පොඩි පැකටුත් නැහැ දැන්
බන්දුල සර් හොයලා දෙන්නකො මේ සතසොර එක්කන් එන්න අපේ කුරුණෑල මේ කඩවල කිරි පිටි නැහැනේ අපිට ඇවිදලා හරි අමාරුයි ඒක ඇවිල්ලා ඉල්ලලා ඉතින් නැහැ කියලා යනවා ඉතින් මොනවා ගෑසුත් නැහැ කිරි පිටිත් නැහැ මේව දෙනකොට කොහොමද ලාභයක් හොයන්න පුළුවන්.
The fertilizer issue does not seem to have been resolved yet. This is the situation of vegetable farmers in Koskoda today.
මෙන්න පිපිඤ්ඤා ගෙඩියේ සයිස් එක. මෙන්න මෙහෙම පොළවේ ගහන්න නම් මෙහෙම. මේවා සදහටම අපි ඉවරයි අපේ ජීවත් වෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ.
These are the destroyed farmlands in Uwaparanagama, Uduhavara, Madavela and Katagoda areas. Farmers point out that about 5,000 acres of vegetable fields have been destroyed due to the shortage of fertilizer and agrochemicals.
මේ දිලීරනාශක නැතුව වෙලා තියෙන දේ මේ කාට ඒකෙන්ද මේවා දැන් සත පහක් ගන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ මේවට දැන් මේ ලීස් පැලවලටම මට රුපියල් 75000ක් විතර දෙනවා පැලවලට විතර
මේ කොම්පෝස්ට් මගුලක් ගෙනල්ලා අද රටම ඉවරයි එළවලු නැහැ හාල් නැහැ ඛණ්ඩ නැහැ සල්ලි නැහැ මේ ජනාධිපතිය ඇතුළේ මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නැතිවම ගොන් තඩින්න මේක තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ.
The Birmingham 2022 Queen's Baton Relay reached Kandy today.
Commonwealth Games 2022 Queen's Baton Relay.
The celebrations were attended by National Olympic Committee representatives, police officers, athletes and a group of school children. The festival also included several cultural events. Thereafter, the Queen's torchbearers arrived at Ranabima Royal College, Gannorwal.
And with that, wrap up news for tonight. Stay safe and good night.